Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here, and today we find ourselves in the future year of 2876 on a far distant planet. Across the barren landscapes lie mountains of steel, fields of metal, and damaged robots. To help rebuild, humans began constructing Salvagers. You'll be taking on the role of a Salvager, and you'll be trying to build 2 robots or defeat all the other Salvagers. 2 Robots is a fast-paced, strategic card game of set collection and player elimination for 2 to 4 players, ages 10 and up, and takes 15 to 45 minutes to play. It's on Kickstarter right now, so I'm going to show you how the game works, and then I'll see you on the other side. Now this is a Kickstarter preview, so keep in mind all the art and components you see here is not final and is subject to change. If you see any cards that don't have any artwork on them, check the Kickstarter page to see all the final art and components. Building 2 different robots is one of the 2 ways you can win the game. The other is being the last one standing, eliminating everybody else. But when you're building robots, there's different types you can build, like the mechanical, the solar, the electrical, the chemical, or the nuclear. Now you can see on these cards there's different parts of the robot, like the arms, or the head, or the legs, or the breastplate, or the chest there. You're going to be building up a full robot. Now here we see a fully built robot of the electrical type. Head, chest, arms, and legs. Now these can be in any order, it doesn't matter, but as long as you have all 4 of them, you have a full robot there. If you get 2 full robots, you'll win the game. Now each of the players is a Salvager. In the beginning of the game, they'll be able to choose one of these 4 Salvagers. It's going to give you a special ability, and you'll also get specific event cards for your Salvager, in this case the Samurai. Everyone will get 3 of those that you'll be able to use based upon what the cards say, but these also double as your life points. If ever you get damaged, you'll lose one of these cards. If you lose all 3 of them, then you're out of the game. Again, that's one of the ways to win the game, is to be the last one standing, eliminating everybody else. Turns are very simple in this game. On your turn, you're going to draw 3 cards from this action deck. Then you're going to play up to 3 action cards. Now let's say these are the 3 cards I drew. These would be in your hands secretly, no one else would be able to see them. And I have a green chemical robot with hands. I have a mixed hybrid robot of a chemical and electrical feet. And then we have this defense card. Now these are going to allow you to do certain things based upon how many robot stacks you have in front of you. So let's first show you that you can playing the 3 cards, up to 3 cards. Let's say we first play this one. Now I'm going to place this in front of me in a stack just in front of where my Salvager is. Now this can be either chemical or electrical. We don't have to decide first because this card was the first card on this stack. Now we have 1 stack built in front of us right now. Now this defense card tells you how many stacks you need in order to play this. In this case 0, so I could have played that first, but I wanted to show you how those stacks work. So now we can actually discard this and draw 2 more cards. So let's say we drew this solar and this sudden abduction attack card. Now this says we need at least 2 piles or stacks in front of us in order to play it, and this will allow us to take a random card from any opponent's hand. Now we've already played our first hybrid robot and that defense power glove, so we have up to 1 more card that we can play if we like to. Now keeping in mind that we may want to have 2 stacks in order to play this next turn, we've got a tough choice to make already in the game, where this could be a chemical or electrical pile. We haven't yet decided that. Now I have this green chemical hands. Now if I place it here, this means, because you can only have 1 stack of each type, this is now the chemical stack, which means this one has to be the blue electrical stack, and now we have 2 stacks, so in a future turn, I'll be able to play that sudden abduction because it cost, you need to have 2 piles there. However, if I placed it here, now I'm halfway to building a full green robot. We know that this is going to be a chemical stack. So do I want to try to build my robot quickly, or do I want to have more options to play some of those other attack cards? Those are some of the decisions you'll be making throughout the game. Now after that, you'd go to the event phase where you can spend cards to enact events. I'll show you that in just a moment. And then you go to cleanup where you discard down to 7 cards, and it's the next player's turn. Now let's say it's a few turns into it, and now this is what it looks like in front of me. Now remember, we were building this blue electrical robot in front of me. Remember, they can go in any order of body type. Now this one's sideways. Why is that? Well, if you remember, a robot is legs, arms, head, and the body. However, you can play a duplicate type. Now, it does not go towards being a full robot because you need all 4, but you can play a duplicate type and it gets placed sideways just to remind you that this isn't one of the 4 that helps you get towards finishing a robot. Now, why would somebody play a card like this? Because if you remember, each player has their own Salvager that has 3 specific event cards. And after you're done playing up to your 3 cards, the event phase allows you to discard 2 cards to activate any one of these. So I could have taken that one that was sideways and maybe one of the other ones, and I could have discarded those to activate any one of these. Like this says, play 3 more cards this turn, and I would activate it. Now keep in mind also, again, these are your health. If you lose all 3 of these, you're out of the game. Now this does not lose your health, this just means you can't play that card again, because these are all once per game abilities. Play 3 more cards this turn. Well, that's cool, because maybe I was able to finish this robot, start a new one, and continue to build the nuclear one. Now on a future turn, let's say we have this built robot. Now in the event section of your turn, instead of discarding 2 cards like we did before and activating one of these events, if you have a fully built robot, you can discard any 1 card to go to this deck. This is the built robot deck, and these are powerful cards. You get to activate one of those. Now these do different things, like this one say, hey, your built robot activates itself and deal 1 damage to any opponent. And when a player loses damage, like if you did damage to Apocalypse, they would lose one of these event cards. Again, this is one of their lives. If they lose them all, they're out of the game. This card would then actually get shuffled back into this built robot deck for the next player that wants to do that on the event section of their turn. Now that deck does a lot of similar things like we just showed you. The majority of the time it's going to deal 1 damage. Sometimes you'll deal 0 damage, your weapons get jammed. Sometimes you'll be able to deal 1 damage to any 2 opponents. And sometimes if you're playing with 4 players, you can add this card in where you can deal 1 damage to an opponent, or you can discard a second part card to deal 2 damage. And also keep in mind, each of the Salvagers has their own special ability. Like the samurai here uses the katana. It says, if you built the robot, you can discard 1 additional part card to draw a second one of those powerful built robot event cards. That's pretty much how the game is played, and you'll win if you have fully constructed all 4 parts of 2 different robots, or if everyone else is eliminated and you're the last one standing. Now let's take a look at some of the other attack and defense cards you haven't seen yet. Ice Blast, you can freeze a stack and you place it on an opponent's stack like this, and they can no longer do anything to that stack. They can't add to it or use cards to do anything with that. Essentially, it freezes it. Now this card here, the Rescue Drill, allows you to draw a card and optionally unfreeze a stack, which is to take that off. Now Homing Missiles allows you to cancel any attack card or Homing Missiles card, which is the same card as this, from other players. So someone might try to attack them and they can play this, but another player could play another one of those to sort of cancel it out. There's also attack cards that attack specific types of robots, like destroy 2 chemical parts, mechanical parts, electrical parts, nuclear parts, or solar parts. Now keep in mind, you need to have 3 stacks in order to play any of these. So if someone played this and I had this stack in front of me, they could destroy 2 of these nuclear parts because of that out of my stacks. The Space Pod allows you to steal a part from any factory, meaning another opponent's, where they have all their stacks. And the Sentry Gunship allows you to cancel an event card that somebody else is enacting on their event section of their turn. Now let's look at some of the other Salvagers. I'm going to show you them in the event cards. I'm not going to go over all these in detail, but feel free to pause and read them as you wish. However, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Salvagers. The Apocalypse, their ability, they're able to basically use those powerful built robot cards when they're not fully built. If you have 2 or more stacks with 3 of the 4 parts needed, you can basically discard a card to use one of those powerful cards. The Scavenger has Rummage. Instead of drawing 3 cards, you can draw 1 card and take any card that was discarded the previous turn, which is cool. Now the Peacemaker comes with this Peacemakers Orb, and for an action you can place this behind one of your stacks of robots, and it's a wild type. So I now have all 4 types here. Now this robot's built, and I can use those built robots powerful cards like this during the event card by discarding the card. However, this does not count towards my victory condition of completing 2 robots using that wild. Well, there you have 2 robots, and as I showed in the overview, you'll be trying to collect and play sets to build your robots, but you might have to start more stacks in order to use specific attack cards. Now, if you'd like to see the final art, components, and all the different pledge levels available, you can click the link below me in the description of this video, and it will take you right to the Kickstarter project page, and I'm sure the folks that created 2 robots would love your support.